Teresa poured the wine again, refilling first Henry's glass and then her own. Their Chinese food sat untouched on the dining room table, where she'd placed it upon returning home to Henry's stack of death and gore pages. She sipped her wine. All thoughts of a night of carnal pleasure with her husband, the night's previous intent, had disappeared. The images of death had taken care of that. But seeing Henry so scared when she got home, the story he was telling, had caused her to drink the first glass too quickly. Her nerves were settling now, and she wanted to keep a clear head. "Gabriella had these?" Teresa asked as Henry returned from getting their daughter to sleep in their bed. "It's like I said," Henry began, taking a healthy swig from his wine glass as well. "I heard her talking to someone and went into her room. She was looking at these on the floor when I came in." "Did she... is it possible she found them stuffed into one of the closets? Someplace we must have missed when we bought the house?" Henry took a deep breath and exhaled. He finished his second glass of wine with a gulp. "I don't know. Maybe." Teresa took another sip of wine, letting her better logic overtake her wilder imaginings. Her rational mind slowly explaining away the "this is what you should do" rules of every crappy horror movie she'd ever seen as nonsense. Henry seemed to be calming down too. "Gabriella was just so creepy. The way she nonchalantly asked me about this kid being blue." Henry shivered. "I thought about that part too," Teresa said. "And I bet you anything it's because we let her watch Avatar with us. Our last night in the apartment, remember?" Henry smiled and cocked his head back in a sigh. "Avatar. I hadn't even thought of the connection." He finished off the wine bottle into his glass as he and Teresa gave over to giggles of relief. "Kids do that," Teresa laughed. "Make those kinds of weird connections in the stories they make up, pulling stuff from all over the place. If you'd asked her, I bet the boy had a tail." Henry continued to laugh, albeit quietly, to not wake Gabriella. "I don't blame you," Teresa continued, "for freaking out. Those pictures were awful, and we should throw them out, but I think she just found them somewhere and didn't understand them. We'll talk to her about them in the..." It was right then that an odor, the smell that Henry had first smelled in Gabriella's room, overwhelmed the dining room. "Oh, God," Teresa said, covering her nose from the strong scent. "What is..." Then from the bedroom down the hall, from the master bath, they could hear the water blast on from the bathtub faucet. The sounds, as if it were filling, came down the hallway, and it hit Henry, what the smell was. What he smelled in Gabriella's room earlier. The overpowering scent now. It was bubble bath soap. The kind you use for a child's bath. "Mommy!" Gabriella screamed at the exact moment that the doors began opening and slamming shut all around the house. Teresa toppled her chair over, hopping out of it. Henry knocked the table aside as both parents raced down the hall toward their bedroom. The door was closed. The sound of the bathtub filling up was the only sound from behind it. "Gabriella!" Teresa screamed as Henry kicked at the door to open. "Teresa!" Henry kicked again and again. "It won't... Gabriella!" He pounded on the door. Silence. The bedroom door opened. The room was turned topsy-turvy, anything in it scattered or broken. Henry and Teresa ran in, scouring for any sign of Gabriella amidst the strewn clothes, bedclothes, and broken lamps, only to come up empty-handed. "Henry," Teresa said, pointing to the closed bathroom door. The couple went over to the door and turned the handle. The room inside was filled with steam. They could each make out Gabriella sitting on the toilet with her legs drawn up to her chest. She was staring toward the bathtub. The shower curtain was drawn closed. "His mommy was so scared," Gabriella said, turning wide-eyed to her parents as Henry ran to her. "He can't breathe," she said, her eyes brimming with tears. Teresa crept toward the bathtub. She drew back the curtain.